No, that was too slow. Yeah, I just like, ugh, I just like twig killed me. I couldn't type twig properly. I probably would have gotten third or fourth, but fifth is fine for fours. Hmm. Okay, over 80, only fourth. Ulta Gym, dude. What a baller. Okay, that was bad, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So, do you guys want to see the game I just played against Jason Lee? Right behind us, but he left. I don't know. It was a very interesting game. It was quite interesting. It's hard to do Polish threes over 90 because you have to hold Alt to type Polish letters. Yeah, it's Ihasa. Just speak English, bro. Just kidding. Um, this is a game. So, let's see. I played Estival. Now, you might think content play, but Estivals ain't valid. Oh, you guys can't even see, but it says forms an unacceptable word. Play anyway. Has two front hooks. Okay, have I talked about how um you tried Vestial? Damn. Have I talked about how my brain doesn't work the same as some people's brains? So when you say front hook, you mean here. And when you say back hook, you mean here, right? Does everybody agree with that? Is there anybody in chat that disagrees with that? At this part of the word, it's a back hook. Oh, nice, Austin. So this is front, this is back, right? Look, I'll play it vertical. I'll play it horizontally, just to talk about my point. So front hook, back hook. I think everybody agrees with you, Mitch Bear. I'm gonna run a poll. A front hook is before the first letter of a word. I agree. I disagree. All right, guys. Seriously, what is your opinion? Like, I'm actually seriously asking for your opinion. If someone says I disagree, I need them to tell me in chat. Um, because I would be completely in shock if somebody disagreed with that. All right, so far it does seem unanimous. Well, of course, the point is that I don't agree with this. I've come to terms with the fact that, sure, whatever you want, Jelmocus. If you want to rig the poll, this is not a poll that needs to be rigged, though. I've come to terms with the fact that nobody sees this the way I see it. And that maybe I'm just trying to be edgy, like deep down, subconsciously. But I completely don't agree with this being the front of a word and this being the back of the word. Yeah, I was sort of surprised by that, Jelmocus. I didn't think you had bits. Why? Who decided that this is the front and this is the back? Oh, Austin, you've never fully understood. So this goes to my point. Who decided it? It's just like people just go along with it. But I think most people do intuitively think that this is the right way to say it. But to me, this is the front of the word. The end of the word is the front. We're going forwards, right? The end of the word is at the front. It's not the back of the word, it's the front of the word. Because when you're reading a sentence, if I'm reading a sentence with estival in it, I'm reading from left to right. And at the end of the sentence, to me, that's the front of the sentence. Right? At the end of a sentence, let's see what you guys think. I'm going to poll again. The end of the sentence is its front. Agree, disagree. The end of a sentence is the front of the sentence. I'm not talking about cars yet. I can talk about cars, React. That does go into my argumentation. But now I'm just talking about sentences, still words. If you're reading a sentence and you get to the end of the sentence, is that the back of the sentence? Is that the back or the front of it? I'm curious. To you guys, it's the back of the sentence. Mitch's trying to, I think you're trying to post a link. Sadly, links do not work. The end of a sentence has a period. Yeah, of course. But is it the front end or the back end? You guys seem to think that the end of the sentence is the back end of the sentence, which is even more weird, but at least that means that you guys are like consistent in your understanding of life. But to me, you think the end of a sentence is the back end of the sentence. But I'm going forward. I'm reading the sentence and I'm going forward. Do you read books from front to back or back to front? Now that's a good one. That's definitely a case where I would say the front of the book is the beginning. I think, intuitively. Front, start, back, end. Not necessarily. But that's also true. It depends where you live. So this is a good point, Asian Pyro, and also hello to you. What's up, Matthew? Here to share your glorious analogy. So yeah, here I think I might be inconsistent because yeah, the front of the book maybe is the start of the book, but maybe it should be the back. So, but sentence-wise, when I'm reading a sentence, the end of the sentence is the front to me. But the book, I guess, that contains all the sentences, before I've opened the book, that's the front. It's the front page. And the end of it is the back page. So that's true, because now we're talking about 3 dimensions, right? For Zara, but these analogies are like are fallacious, I feel. Like I don't really see the comparison. Like, I'm not saying behind. Because when you get to the end of the book, everything that you've read is behind you. If you go back in time. But it's a really interesting discussion, right? Like, I know that I'm totally, totally in the minority here. Like, even more so than, like, the fact that I didn't play this here. I played this here, obviously. Sorry, Matthew. But, like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You don't find this interesting, Sir Fink? Damn, dude. So basically, it's weird that before means back. Maybe. But I think this is the front of the word. And yes, I do use an analogy myself that might just not be a good one, about like a car or a subway train. The front of the train is at the start of it. And the start of it is at the front. So time and space. There's an issue with time and space. Nice. Anyways, I just find it really interesting that when people started saying front and back hooks, I didn't know what they meant. I thought it was the opposite. And it might just be because I'm some like contrarian figure or whatever. But I genuinely wasn't trying to be contrarian when I originally heard the terms used and didn't understand them. But maybe it's some subconscious thing. But so when someone says front, I still don't really know, because so I've gotten so used to the way everyone else sees it, but like that is now like getting in the way of how I see it, and I have to think about it. Anyways, fun discussion. So the front hooks for Estival are A and E, and A and F. And A doesn't change the word. Like if you play this doesn't change really anything about the word. But if you do this, the word now takes an S. So it's not a content play. Estival is not a content play, but it can become a content play. If you ever hook an F onto it, it'd be really cool because you're setting up an S. Anyways, I opened with Estival. Jason plays Yin. This is an interesting position. And yeah, Festival Goer is great. But yeah, thanks for discussing this open-mindedly, guys. I appreciate you not just like trashing me like outright. I know you're kind of trashing me, but you're not super trashing me, which I appreciate. All right, so here I laid down Kadi and I was like, wait a second. Shouldn't I just play cat? So now Jason knows that I have a D. I also considered playing this, but the queue is just so bad. And I'm opening a double lane when I'm ahead by 50. Like, no need to do this. So I switched to cat. I want to see what the engine thinks. Sevens look short for because of Babel. You've been playing a lot, Asian? I haven't seen you online. I've been playing on Tabletop Hot Dishes streams. So yeah, Cat's a little bit better. Much better, Austin says. I don't know. I feel like after Yin, this spot benefits me more. Like I should be likelier to hit this nice scoring spot, especially with my H and my Y. Like hottie or some word could score a lot of points here. So I think it's close. But I was like, yeah, why am I not playing Cat? Oh, I actually have Jason's racks too. So we opened with Yin. It is the top equity play, so it's probably fine. Yeah, no, this doesn't look. This looks horrible. Maybe this is okay. This I don't like. Yeah, I think Yin is the right play. And turns out I blocked Thesauri. The reason I ended up playing Cat over Caddy is because it blocks the S and also the T kind of. It somewhat blocks the S. And I actually blocked a bingo. He had this Cat Thesauri. Well, it was Thesauri without Cat. So Ahi's top equity. I like his play. He played VAU. Try and set up his S. It's kind of hard to block. This looks like the best play. You push like 500. Nice. Oh. Wow. I had this play. Damn, dude. Feels bad. That's gotta be the right play. I played Yod. I thought this was hard enough to see. Word ending in DH. I really struggle to find this word and also this word over the board. Just got a weird letter arrangement. But I was happy with this, but Holy Day. It's 38 points, dude. It's gotta be the best play. The leave is slightly better with Yod, and I am blocking a bit more. Like I'm blocking a lot of 8s with this E, blocking some 8s with this S. Not really blocking any 7s. I guess I'm blocking a little bit 7s. Like a very small amount of 7s no longer play. But it's likely as an S anyway. And he could also still have a 9 ending in ED. So yeah, Holy Day. Damn. I didn't look in that spot until I think the next move. That's really cool. Yeah, Lamed. Okay, so I play Yod. Doesn't accomplish too much. What did he say he had? Yes. This rack. So he played high here. Yeah, this play makes sense. He's sacrificing some equity over a couple other plays, but this allows another bingo lane to be created on the other side of the board, distracting me from this VAUS spot that he's likeliest to hit. So I like this play. It accomplishes something, unlike the other plays. But I draw really well. Play rondelles. He plays FEU. Oh, okay. So he missed a lot better play here. So yeah, he could just put his E here, but even better his O, and his leave is a lot better. I see. So that was a tough, I guess a tough fit there. But Jason's already pretty frustrated here, because like he's down 150 points and he doesn't even have a bingo. So I totally understand him just slapping this down. But yeah, you gotta look harder. Always gotta look harder in tournament games. I drew all consonants. Um, and there's something to be said about maybe playing Clift, scoring 20. It's very close with the top static exchange. But I like what I did. I exchanged down to M. The M is just a really nice tile. It's a versatile, as I call it. It can score, it can bingo. It's just nice to have. When you're ahead by a lot, it's nice to have an M. Allows you to keep the pressure on. And the reason why just M is that the M doesn't go well with the T, unless you have an A and an E. So you don't want to keep an M with something else. There are no letters here that the M goes well with. So if you're going to keep an M, you should keep it by itself. But just a T, the problem with the T is it's not a good scoring tile. It's a good bingo tile, and so I'm definitely bingoing more if I'm exchanging down to a T. Let's put that in. I didn't put it in. Oops. It's not what I meant to do. Exchange GTCFGM. Keeping the T, I'm gonna bingo a lot more. Especially to this ED, that'd be really nice and juicy. Probably end the game on the spot if I bingo through this to this ED. But yeah, Jason's pretty close to a bingo for sure, and it's obviously great if I can draw into a bingo again, but the likelihood of me drawing into a bingo next turn, as you can see, keeping the T is 1 in 4. My chances of winning this game are a lot higher than that. So I don't need to make that like gambit. Like I don't need to just like go all out for a bingo here. For the same reason, keeping CT is not so good in my opinion. Because I mean, all CT can really do is score. I mean, the C can be defensive. So there's something to be said about keeping the C to try and create a situation where I'm putting a C in part of the board where it's like makes it really hard to reopen. Like I could play with CHI, but I could already do that with an A. Any letter that goes here and I go downwards, it really seals off part of the board. But the fact that this ED is here doesn't really, yeah. It's actually pretty hard. If Jason keeps making board opening plays, it's pretty hard to seal off the board at this point. So keeping the M just allows me to maximize my flexibility for next turn. So that's why I decided to keep it. Hey, your boy Logie Bear. Do you recognize me? I don't know. I feel like, I mean, I'd known you on Twitch for a while. Like I've seen you in other streams. Maybe you've seen me in someone else's stream potentially. But it's good to see you. But Bingo scored 50 extra points. That's true. So if I can create a situation where I just draw into a bingo next turn, I'm just gonna win the game. Yeah, we're doing some Scrabble game analysis. Logie Bear. I'm sure that's extremely interesting to you. But it's interesting that Clift sims the best. Like Engine likes this the best. The thing about this play is it's great because it scores and doesn't really help Jason all that much. However, down the line, a play here at 15k can be pretty bad for me. The Q is still out, the X is still out, the Z is still out, the J is still out. So if he's able to have a play at some point during this game at 15k, it scores like 60 points and opens the board. That's not great. I don't really want to open myself up for that. So that's that, and the fact that I'm keeping 4 consonants, and a play like Clift, when Jason's behind by so much, it really does signal to him that he should probably try and make some sort of desperado play if he can. Just assuming that I have all consonants. When you're down by a lot in Scrabble, you have to start making more and more risky plays sometimes. And getting information from your opponent can actually be very useful to guide you in that way. Because obviously, if you make a really risky play that just assumes your opponent has like really, really bad letters and then they don't, it's going the reward for that will only be good if your inference comes true. If your inference is wrong and your opponent does have a vowel or whatever, does have the letter you don't want them to have, you're digging yourself even deeper into the hole of losing. So making a play like Clift will definitely, if you're playing a top expert, it will definitely give them that like boost to be like, okay, there's a good chance he has a lot of consonants, maybe 4 consonants. And if I'm really super unlikely to win this game, maybe I should make a play assuming that he's not going to be able to respond to said play because he has all consonants. And it's definitely rare that those plays work. But if that's your best shot, that's your best shot. Yeah, Scrabble engines kind of suck compared to chess engines. If you pitted me against an engine over a long period of time, yeah, you could play Clift as bait. That's actually a great idea. Like sometimes making plays like this, I've done this before, thinking my opponent's gonna be like, okay, he has consonants. Let me make a play that benefits vowels, and I have a vowel. Like that's a valid strategy. Just like this bluff, this double, what do you call it? Double reverse psychology bluff sort of thing. This definitely happens in Scrabble. But yeah, if I were pitted against this engine Quackle, I would probably win like 40 some odd percentage of the time against it. I think. Not 2000. If I would classify Scrabble engines as 2700 elo if I'm comparing it to chess. So there are a select few players that are better than the best Scrabble engines. Yeah. Anyways, I don't like Clift. Yeah, and like in this position, because there's no real proof on what's the best play, and these plays are really close, like win percentage or whatever. Any of these 4 choices, or any of these 5 choices, is not really, you can't really consider them mistakes. You can't really consider one of them better than the other because of how close they are. Like it could just be noise, the difference between these plays. I could iterate for like a million iterations and still it wouldn't actually tell me anything super useful. But with the details here, this stuff, this actually is good information because it's raw data. It's like if your opponent has a random rack, this is what's happening next turn. And so I can use that to think about my thought process in the game and pair it against the data that this is spewing out. This data is accurate if my opponent has a random rack. The bingo percentage one at least. The average score thing is like, again, it's different. What's up, yo, bro? Wait, why didn't my widgets work? What the hell? Sorry about that. And blue skies tipping 15. Like, wait, what's going on here? None of my widgets were working. There you go. That's you. Thank you so much for the sub, dude. I like the yo, bro. And blue skies donating 15 bucks. Ridiculous. Thank you so much. That's like...
I'm glad you are beginning to realize you're dreaming. I hope that it continues in the ways that you imagine that it can be.
Thank you, blue skies. That's so kind. I think blue skies didn't mean to say that I'm realizing I'm dreaming, unless blue skies believes that this is a simulation. I think you meant I'm beginning to realize my dreams. Thanks so much. Logie Bear asks, what's the most amount of points you can get from one word? Technically you could score like 2,000 points with one word, but it has to be like set up. Thank you for following, UV. Okay, my widgets are working. Yay. I think I turned them off because I do my YouTube videos in this format. Yeah, I've played oxyphenbutazone for like 1,600 points, but I think there's some scenario where it could score more than that. Yeah, I appreciate all the kindness, blue skies. And Austin, would I play glyphed? I saw glyphed and I was like, that's not a word, but it's Collins. I would. I think I would. Probably play glyphed in this position. Gets rid of one of the G's. How much do I bingo after Clift? I bingo 2% of the time with MGGT. Like I draw into like maggots or like some weird thing. Yeah, maggots and GHI. Okay, let's move on here. So I'm up 100. Like when you're up by 130 points, you might think, okay, I want to keep scoring so that my opponent can never catch me. But it's actually sometimes on boards like these where there's no like huge threat that you have to address, it's good to exchange and try and balance your rack, because then you can better address threats that your opponent's going to create. You just tuned in tonight. How do tiebreakers work? Yeah, point spread. So at the end of a game, you have a score and your opponent has a score. And you calculate you hand in not only the fact that you won, but you also hand in the scores. And the scores are put into data entry. And over many games, it's just a math equation. Did I win? I won by 50. I won by 70, lost by 40. And after every round, you know what your total spread is, your point differential. And so if you have the same amount of wins as someone else, win-loss ratio is the same, because in Scrabble tournaments, all the games are played at the same time in like blocks of around 50 minutes to an hour. And there's like 7 or 8 games per day usually. So if you have the same record as someone else, the tiebreak is whether you have more point spread than them or not. And often that actually it actually determines who wins the tournament. People will have the same winning record, win-loss record, but one of them will have more point spread. So it's a pretty important tiebreak. All right, so I exchanged 6, and Jason puts down OE. This is very sad. He actually drew EE after FEU. So if he had the same draw with OF, he would have way too many E's here. And he'd probably play something like Ire. So yeah, Jason's just not having the best game. Is this OE as bad as yesterday's OE? I have no idea. what OE you're talking about. No clue. Did I play OE? I probably played OE. How would you remember me playing a two-letter word? Oh, the Austin game. Oh my God. I should have remembered that. Yeah, OE. OE is an important word. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I did. I did. Oh, it has a different definition than what we're used to. The definition that I learned for OE is a wind off the Faroe Islands. It's like a type of specific type of wind. Gotta know those specific types of wind. Yeah. I ranted for a half an hour about Austin Ho playing OE. I remember now. How many wins can I name? Probably like five. Like hurricane. Are those even wins? Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if a hurricane, tornado, typhoon, like if those are actual winds. Easterly, westerly, whatever. I'm not gonna. Okay, so I draw into this rack. Um. Oh yeah, Haboob, Levant. That's true. Scirocco, Chinook. Wow, you guys know a lot more wins than I do. Mistral, I know. Phone, I know. Okay, I know those now that you mention them, but I can't name them off the top of my head. All right, here I played Wimp. I missed the word in pawn. It's probably better to play this. Man, I missed a chess word. What does impawn mean? To stake, to compromise. Okay. Yeah, it's good to score 34. The drawback of making this play or this play is long term, I guess it creates some breathing room to create to play bingos or create more bingo. Like either way, it might be it might be not so good to leave this open, but more importantly, since I'm up over 100, what I should be worried about is multiple bingos. And I don't see a big difference between these two plays and allowing multiple bingos. Like this gets rid of a lane. Wimp gets rid of a lane but creates another one on the N column. And even on the M, I guess the M column is also a possibility, starting or playing through the P. And in pawn creates some play, I guess, on the E and C columns that wasn't there before, while blocking the D column. But yeah, I think the thing is I should just take the points here. Hey Scrabble. Tremontaine is a win too. Wow. Nice. Is Montaigne a win then? We're talking about winds. Winds. No. Okay. How do you guys know these definitions? I don't. I really don't know. Um hmm. Yes, this was a small mistake. You read the dictionary. I read the dictionary. And okay, here's something that's very important to talk about, I think, or interesting. So often when you're in these games that Jason is in, where he's losing, he didn't really do anything wrong. Like FEU is worse than OF. But his other plays were correct. But look, he played 3 tiles, 2 tiles, 2 tiles, 2 tiles, 2 tiles. And when you're in your Jason's position, you need a lot of things to go right from here on out. And that means you need to draw bingo now, right? Like better to draw a bingo now than not now. So you want to draw a bingo, but you also want to be specific about what sort of bingo you draw. You want to draw a bingo that doesn't involve your rack being too good. So he has snare on his rack. So he wants to draw something like this. Let's say he draws something like this. And he can play erasing or searing or something. This is what he wants to draw. Just something like normal. He doesn't want to draw, this doesn't even play. Like, like, there are a bunch of draws that he's, like, a million draws that he wants. What he doesn't want is to draw an E and a blank. But he did. He drew a blank. And you might be like, what's wrong with drawing a blank? Blanks are great. Now he's gonna bingo. He's not gonna win if he bingos once. He wants that blank to show up on his rack later. He doesn't want it now. Yeah, Scrabble got it. He doesn't want it now. And this happens sometimes. You're losing. You need to bingo twice. Bingoing is using all of your tiles, by the way. For Logie Bear, whoever is in here doesn't know what a bingo is yet. Exchange. You don't want this blank. Like, it's just overkill. You really just want to bingo with just regular letters plus the 5 letters you kept. You want this blank later to mount your comeback. Anyways, you can't have it all, but he's like, I didn't want this blank. And I understand. So he played Serenaded. He could also play Sneakered. Serenaded is better because the S, the E, the R, and the N are probably better than the S, the N, the E, and the A as bingo lanes, and it's harder to score well while overlapping this play. Yeah, the great thing about this move is it's really nice. It's a 9-letter word, but it just blows the board open. You have this, 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 this. There's nothing happening here until you put down a word here. And now, like, it's right in the smack in the center of the board. So any word that you draw that uses an S, an E, or an R to go with your 7 letters is going to fit, because the S, the E, and the R can be at any point in the word. The way the geometry of the Scrabble board works is the only way that it's possible for a word to always play that uses a letter is for that letter to be either on the 8 row or the H column, because you have 7 letters. So yeah, this is really nice. And normally I would say, like, in a regular Scrabble game, you're like 20% to bingo on any given turn, like during the game. There's like a 1 in 5 chance. But let's put this play Kazaren on the board, which doesn't really increase bingo chances for the next turn at all for anybody. And compare it with this. And just in terms of how likely it is to bingo next turn. Hold on. Let me just save this. Sec. 625. So yeah, let's just put these plays on a simulation. Opponent next turn, yeah, around 1 in 5 to bingo. Maybe a bit less. But look at this number. That's a lot bigger. 20% versus 14%. So it's just a huge difference that makes making a play here a million times better than, not to mention the fact that Kazaren just gives a humongous scoring spot back, but just to illustrate the point, like, you need to make plays like this when you're down 140. It's really useful. Anyways, Serenaded comes down. However, to my MAN, I draw very well, and I draw this. All right, guys, time to look for bingos. What do you see? Here, I'm gonna alphabetize the letters. What bingos do you see? What are you looking at? First of all, put yourself in my shoes. What are you looking at? What's the first thing you're looking at? You know you're gonna bingo, basically, with this rack. The first thing I saw, you see chamber. Well, you're seeing ghosts surfing. I don't have a C or an H. Bear, man, man, bear. The first thing I saw was Limberman, which goes off the board. And it's not even a word. I was thinking of Timberman. Boardman. Okay, where's the D and the O? How can you play that? How do you play boardman? Membrane. Okay, so membrane. If you see membrane, you're like, okay, great. I can play membrane. Scores 84 points. That's nice. Is there any way that I could score more than that? Probably, right? You have this S just staring at you. How could there not be a word using this S? If any word comes down here and you just double an E or something, or an A, you're going to score 86, which is better than membrane. Not to mention, membrane is a very, very dangerous play to make. Even if it were the highest scoring bingo, I don't think you'd want to make this play. And the reason being is this little letter over here, the Z. Jason could have drawn the Z. He just drew 7 letters. Maybe he has the Z like a fifth of the time or something. Just intuitively. Maybe even more than that. Maybe a quarter of the time he has the Z. Maybe even more than that. So if he has the Z and he has some letters, some nice letters to go with it, he could score 100 points just with the 4-letter word. So you're saying, oh, play it here. Well, or here. What is the problem with these? They open a triple triple. I'm about to go up by 150 points almost. Why would I want to open a triple triple? So it's not great. Penumbra, very nice find. Penumbra is nice. Penumbra just eliminates like any bingos on the N or M column forever. Problem is, score is 66. And it doesn't really address the bigger concerns on this board, which are just all of these letters here. You want to play over here. Maneb. Yeah, so both with the play of membrane here. Let's just put these options up here. These two plays, they both open up a big threat. Notably the A12 spot and the triple triple. But what they both do is that they give Jason maybe one turn to cash in on one of those spots. If Jason doesn't have a triple triple next turn, or if Jason doesn't have a huge Z play next turn, that spot's probably going away. Maybe he's playing there, maybe I'm playing there. However, it's still just like, why would you give him even one turn, right? So, Jelamoka suggests Maneb, which is really a really funny play. It's not a bingo, but it's a very good play because it blocks everything except words starting in S, and 9-letter words. It's really nice and defensive, and it keeps the blank for later. I think you should bingo here. And Mitch Bear finds the bingo that I played. Bargemen. It's also Brakemen. Brakemen has a similar, slightly, kind of similar issue to Membrane in that I guess you could have like a big Z play. You could also have a big J play. I think Bargeman's slightly better, even though you can overlap much more easily on the A column or the C column. That's okay. I'm okay with that. Yeah, AZE words are a threat for sure. Like if he has gaze, it's 63 points. But I much prefer that to 100 points. So I played Bargeman, and what do you know? There are literally no bingos with this S. Austin probably found the only bingo, which is a Collins only word. Mirrorbanes. But there's nothing. So I spent like 6 minutes on this turn. Oh, Mirrorbanes with an I. Okay. Nice. But I ended up playing Bargeman. Yeah, it looks so good, right? It looks like there should be something, but there isn't. There isn't even a 7, right? Barman blank. Yeah. It's just all Collins words. And I think I knew, like, part of me was like, wait, I think I've checked this before. Like, I think I've checked barman blank, and there's like no words. There's no words there, as Bill O'Reilly famously said. Anyways, play Bargeman. Jason plays Kef, keeping Tire. Kiev is, I guess, a possibility. No, Kef looks better. Here, Kif. Yeah, this looks right. This looks like the right play for Jason. Is Jason... Are you kidding, Scrabble? You think I could get away with Collins words against Jason? Why do you say that? Jason's like really good. Who are you thinking? Who are you thinking about? What Jason? There's so many Jasons in Scrabble. You're probably thinking about a different Jason. Jason Keller. Yeah, there are lots of Jasons. Okay. Here, starting here, guys, I think I just played lazy Scrabble. I played Lounge. I didn't see Nucleon. That's a great play. There are a bunch of plays here. I considered Lounge and Eclog. So this play and this play were the two plays I considered. Yeah, there's Jason. There's also Jason Ubika, Jason Keller, Jason, what's his last name? Anyways, there's another Jason who hasn't played much in recent years. He directs the national tournament. Katz Brown, yeah, he does as well. But he directs the Collins division. No, not Jason Bursma. Like at nationals, he directs the Collins division. I just can't remember his last name. Anyways, moving on. Lounge is the highest. Idalski, thank you, Austin. Appreciate it. It's a weird last name. It's hard to remember. Give me a break. Here it was really funny, right? This situation is funny because I mean I'm up 100 still, and I start looking for like possible ways for Jason to play. I started looking for ways for him to play Festival, but then he played Kef and got rid of the last F. But if Jason was able to play something like with Festival, like Mofo, which is again not possible, both M's are gone and both blanks, it'd be cool because he could reopen He can make the content happen with like an SN word. But there are literally no words that I could find. Can you find a word that ends in FO or goes FOSO? Tifoso Collins. That would actually reopen this spot. Other than Mofo. That's all I saw was Mofo, which was not possible. Anyways, I played Lounge. The problem with Lounge is I'm literally just giving up on the prospect of preventing Jason from getting multiple bingos down. Um, what I mean by that is I'm opening the board here. Make no mistake. I might be blocking eights here, words with this B, words to this D. But I'm opening words from the L, words through the O. There's still possibilities from this S, possibilities from this P. This board is wide open. Wimps, ending in E, ending in N. All of these are possible. And I'm just like, fuck it. You try your best, Jason, to bingo multiple times. I'll probably still win. I think Nucleon is a better version of my play, although it does keep a G. Yeah, I'd like to see what Quackle thinks here. Eclog is nice because it blocks all those other things that I was mentioning. It's just really nice geometry here. You have to start a bingo in E. It's going to score 60 points. Open 2 triples. Blocks the E, blocks the N, blocks all this stuff. So Eclog is really nice for defense. Opponent next turn, look, 5% bingo chances versus 12% for Lounge. Almost the same for Nucleon. If it's almost the same for Nucleon, then I prefer Lounge. Because Nucleon keeps the G. Anyways, I played Lounge, it's fine. But I could have done something a bit more proactive. Like, if unfog were a word, I might have played that. Just to block this S. And yeah, I give Jason a bingo of co-writes, so that didn't feel so good. Now he's only down 60. And I have this rack, and this is the sort of rack that you're probably gonna miss a word here. It's just such weird letter combinations that there's just like a bunch of really weird words that are probably playable. I found one of said words, but I'm willing to believe that I missed a couple of others. And I don't even know if my play was best. There's a lot of things you can do in this position. You can keep the Z, go for gaze type plays, but there are only 2 E's left. There's no real way to hit this triple, I don't think, with the Z. Like I could play Azo, but that's dumb. Yeah, there's not much that I can really draw here at A1 without a blank. So keeping the Z, it might be okay, but it doesn't look fantastic. But if I were to keep the Z, I could play something like Cab or Bog, or like Bog here, something like that. But then there's Zag. Zag to score pretty well. And the thing about Zag is it sets up Cobb for next turn. So if I'm able to, Cobb scores another 30 points, which is nice. But then there's this play, and this is the play I made. And I don't really know if this is the right play. Let's look at some. Okay, I found all the candidate plays. Great. If there's a way in this position to like set up my Z, I would love to find this. This is the sort of position where you can make a lot of cool things happen. Because your opponent's extremely focused on one thing, and that's bingoing again. So you can make some sort of setup plays that are hard for them to deal with. Um, but I don't see one. If somebody in chat sees one, like there's something I could play something like I don't even know. Bra. Set up Azo. Like if I'm gonna set my Z up, I should set it up like on a triple letter score both ways. I just don't see a way of doing that while scoring points. So I played Gazabo and I don't know. It's the top play by like 6 points, but there's an issue with it, and you'll see why. You'll see why it's not doing so well in the simulation here, and that playing something like Zag is potentially better. Or just playing something like Bog. Keeping the Z is nice because you can just score with it like whenever you want. Um, yeah, it's possible just playing something else is a good idea. Um, yeah, so I play Gazabo. It's a cool word. Might not be the best play. Jason plays XI, keeping LIRER. He considered playing this, told me as well. But there are no S's to draw, so you're not setting up an S hook with elixirs. You are setting up this 15 row. But Jason's reasoning was very sound. And what he said was, if I play elixir, here's what Josh is going to do. Josh is either going to play at G13, block the 7's lane, or he's going to play at C12, score some points, and be like, next turn I'm playing at 15A, and I'm blocking the S. And what's Jason left with? This poor little P here. That's all he can really bingo from after that. So it's very sound logic. The board dynamics are not in the favor of this play of elixir, because I'm gonna block this big lane next turn, and then I'm gonna block the S if I haven't already. So he just played XI, and scored points. He also needs to score a lot of points here because he's down over 100 still, or he was down almost 100. And here's the problem. I kept CT, and what are you thinking? What could possibly go wrong here? I draw more constants. That was supposed to work better. There, this is my rack. So all constants again. And this is not a situation you want to be in. So one of the reasons to not play Gazabo is because you're not leaving a balance. You're not leaving at least one vowel, at least one consonant. And when you're up by a lot, you want to do this. You want to make sure you have at least one vowel, one consonant, to constantly be aware of the fact your opponent can make threats. And the threats I was talking about earlier of benefiting a specific type of letter, a vowel or a consonant. So if your opponent makes a play where if you have all consonants, you can do nothing about the threat, like if he puts a consonant here in the O column or here, if he plays something like, I don't know what he would play, but just something that puts consonants in a terrifying spot, and I can't do anything because I have all consonants and I don't have any words using all consonants. That's a problem. So if I keep a vowel, I can pretty much ensure that that sort of threat does not see the light. So that's probably the main reason against playing Gazabo in this specific situation, because I'm ahead by so much that I need to worry about those bad case scenarios of like, how can I lose this game? I can lose this game by Jason making a very daring gambit play that I can do nothing about. That's not to say that it's impossible to do something like that when I have a balance of a consonant and a vowel at least on my rack. It's just a lot harder. So I can exchange again. But in this position, I decided to make a play. And this might actually be wrong. Again, like the same thing with clipped, but now it's clipped. It's literally the same play. So the same things apply. A big play at 15k is not nice. Now, the only thing he could have is a Juga or a Hido, I think. So there are two J5s that will hit the J on the double letter score. Maybe there's more. Ajiva as well. Yeah, there's more. There's more. Like if I no, that wouldn't work. But there are some words he can have. They're not super likely, but they bring him back into the game. And it's not something I want to allow. So it's possible that I should exchange again. But the problem with exchanging is now I'm really giving up my lead. Like if he's able to score points elsewhere, I'm now only ahead by 20, and he might not even need to bingo to win. So that's the biggest issue here. Is if I do the same thing that I did earlier when I was ahead by a lot more, I might fall behind. So I played clipped. He held this play actually. I was very surprised. He almost challenged. He said it didn't look like a word, but then he let it go. So here Jason plays idler. This has to be right. You want to make a play here and set up bingo lanes, ending in R, ending in E. You keep the threat of bingo from the S alive. This has to be right. And Jason suddenly isn't actually doing so bad here. He might be winning like 1 in 4 games or so. Maybe that's a bit much, but I can't really have much. There are no E's left. No really good bingo combinations, except the ing, of course. We love the ing. But suddenly things aren't looking so bad for Jason. But he is still down by 45. And I have this rack. I luckily drew 2 vowels. There were a lot of vowels left when I played clipped, which I was aware of, but drawing the J was pretty nice, because now he can't score with the J, and I can score with the J. But I didn't see anything fantastic. Now that I look at the position, I have this move, which is pretty interesting. It doesn't score anything, but it plays off 5 tiles, and Jason has 7, and there are 6 tiles left to draw. So by playing off 5 tiles, I'm not allowing Jason any time to further build his rack. I'm letting him play off 1 tile, which would empty the bag and giving me full information about what his letters are. So save for a few plays that he could make that would threaten 2 bingos on separate parts of the board, he's not winning this game after Jeton and a 1 tile play. Because once he plays the 1 tile, I know what his rack is, and I can block whatever he has. It is still possible that he draws into something in 2 spots that I can't block simultaneously, but it's very unlikely. So Jeton is a good idea. It's something I definitely should have considered. But yeah, there are other interesting options that I saw. The first play I put a lot of thought into is Jute, because the thing that Jute does is blocks this S. And if I draw an A, if I draw a number of other combinations, I can play from this J and score really nicely next turn, which could be enough to win. Right now I'm only scoring 19, and I'm going up 60 plus points. But if I'm able to score 33, I'm going to be up 100 points after 2 turns, so he's going to need to score a lot to win. But I started calculating, I'm like, this doesn't necessarily check out. If he makes a 20-point play or 20-plus point play here, like if he makes an axe play, I don't think I'll have time to play from the J. I think if I play from the J and he plays a bingo to the E or the R, he's going to win. Obviously, if he makes a play with axe, that means he's getting rid of his E, so it's not very likely to draw into a bingo, whatever. But I knew that I had to block one of this S or this ER combination, LER combination, I guess. And I just started trying to iterate, trying to look at all of these unseen letters that I had tracked, and trying to figure out what the threats are. Now, these are a lot of letters. There are only a select few people that can quickly determine what playable bingos exist with these combinations. Um, I saw Avigator. I saw there was some plays to this E, and I actually didn't see a single word from this S. And there is more than 0 words from this S. Let me see if you guys can find. Thank you, Jellimokas. If you can find a word from this S, how quickly you can find a possible word with those letters from this S. It's something I should have seen. And Austin, of course. Austin 09, um, 9th best player in the world currently. It's quickly found Sotoir. Now, if I were to show you exactly all of the letters that are unseen, this is my rack now. I've done a little switcheroo. I'm gonna give you guys a few more seconds in chat to try to find something from this S. Try to find as many threats as you can with these letters. It helps also that now you have them in front of you. Yeah, I saw Avigator, and I was like, that scores a lot of points. So I made a play that I think was probably wrong, just because I was more worried about plays to this R than from this S, because I saw a non-zero amount of words that fit to this R. Anyways, Ravigoat. That scores a lot of points too. So, I'm going to show you a nice tool here. Look at all these words. These are the threats, like variegator. 1 word from the S, Sotoir, that's it. 3 words to the L. 3 words to the R. And 2 words to the E. So these are all of the bingo threats. And these are all the threats. Like, this is the only way I'm losing, is if he has one of these. And even then, so that was another thing. Even though Sotoir is a threat of 79 points, that's a lot less than 98. That's a lot less than 90. That's a lot less than 89. I don't think I can withstand the 89. I don't think I can withstand the 90. I don't think I can withstand the 98. And also you have to think about, like, if you're able to iterate through all of these things, which, like I said, only a few people are able to do this. You have to figure out how likely are each of the bingos. Now, Groovier is extremely unlikely. Any word with the A is likelier than the others, because there are so many A's left. You can have that word a variety of different ways. You can have it with the first A, you can have it with the second A, you can have it with the third A. So probability-wise, it's a lot likelier that you have Ravigoat than you have Groovier. Just like without thinking about any other factors. So with duplicated letters, anything using duplicated letters, so anything using an O, an I, and an A is going to be the likeliest. So that's Sotoir, that's Outrival, that's Avigator, that's Ravigoat. Those are the likeliest bingos. In any case, you can see that all of these, most of these threats are on this part of the board. So I did get that right. So I played Jute. And the problem with this play is not that I missed Sotoir. It is a problem that I missed Sotoir, that it fits, and I didn't see it. The problem is now, if I put in all of the unseen letters again, I've created another threat, Vertigo. Now, Vertigo existing is a problem. If, for example, Jason plays PA this turn, and the unseen letters to me are exactly this. Jason can now be fishing for Vertigo or for Sautoir, and I have no way of figuring out which he's going for. Unless I have some crazy inference. I mean, just normally, I would think he's likely to have Sautoir. Because if he has the V, he's probably going to want to play it. So like he's likelier to want to play the V. So just because he's likelier to want to play off a V that he might have, maybe it's likelier he's going for Sautoir. He can't be going for both of them. But the fact that there are 3 letters left unseen, and he's only played 1, so now there are 2, makes it possible for him to have either of those. So then, yeah, then it's like, okay, I have the word, okay, this is not a word. I have the word Danio, and I'm ahead by 94. And look at this, guys. This is hilarious. Does Danio outscore? Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. Wait, never mind. I miscalculated. I thought I was winning by 1. Yeah, Danio loses by 1 to Sautoir. I thought I was winning by 1. I thought I calculated that. Damn it. Oof. So I can't win. I can't win if I block Vertigo. What I can do... Here's the funny thing, though, about this position. I can play Joe. And if he has Sautoir... This is the beauty of Scrabble, guys. If he has Sautoir, and I draw the G, he's drawn the V. Where does the V go? Is there anywhere for his V? Pav is not a word in NWL. Vax is not a word in NWL. He's positively stuck with the V. There are no plays. So he loses. If he immediately draws into Sautoir and plays it, there's a 50% chance he's losing. This is again, I tell you guys, tempo is so important. Not being the one to empty the bag is so important. So if I play Joe, there's a 50% chance that his bingo's not going to win. Because I'm not emptying the bag. Churro says, what if you pass? What if who passes? What if who passes? So Joe, and let's say Sautoir comes down and I draw the V. Still win. So, we've solved it. We have solved this position. Sautoir, after Pa, after this very specific play, by the way. This extremely specific play. Never wins if I play Joe. So if Jason were to pass here, or if I were to pass here, Jero, you still have to be more specific. If I pass, Jason's drawing 2 letters out of the bag rather than 1, but he's drawing VG. And VG goes here, and VG goes here. So I can block both of those as well. So I can still win. Auto gyro. No, there's nowhere to make that fit. Yeah, he could play off the A somewhere else for sure. Um, but I would still, there's nowhere where he can score 10 more with the A, Jelmoka, so it doesn't matter actually. The highest he can score with the A is 8 points. So it doesn't actually matter. Oh, you're saying after Joe. Whoa. That's correct, guys. Auto gyro could fit in this instance. That's crazy. Nice. Anyways, this it's just the analysis goes on and on, right? In these positions, they're so rich. So Jute, if I were able to calculate all of this, I'd be happy with the play. I'm now leaving him with one out, and that's to play Vertigo immediately, pretty much. So if you play something like so, try to set up another lane, I can block both of those lanes, no problem. But this does give him more things he can draw into. No, not at all actually. Wow, I thought this was giving him other stuff. That's crazy. This doesn't help him. Setting this up doesn't do anything. That's ridiculous. Anyways, all didn't happen in the game. I played Jute. I don't actually know if it's right. Jeton might be better. No, of course that doesn't matter, Jelmo, because you know that doesn't matter. If you have one spot, it's like having 0 spots. So none of this actually happened. Jason had this rack. He went for Sotoir. I had this rack, and all I have to do is block Sotoir, and I win. So any play that blocks Sotoir is a winning play. I think I made the best one. In Collins Vifta would be the best play probably. But I played video, and I killed the radio star. Sorry, radio star. And I guess 12B A and E to set up the V. Hey, that's pretty cool. I considered maybe doing something like that. Then I'm stuck with divot. He blocks. Probably doesn't add up. Yeah, I shouldn't. I should just like make my play and move on with my life. I played video. I think he made the best end game here. He drew into Sotoir, Sag. Nairu seems best. And oh, I should just play this. I didn't see this word. I played Naga. I saw that he had Dote for 20 and Vote for 21, and the only way for me to block both of those. Jesus Christ. The only way for me to block both Vote and Dote is to play like from the eye, which just wasn't worth it. Uri is best. Okay. Wait, why? I don't get this. Oh, because it sets up aft. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, that might be his best end game. Loses by 48. For those of you that are chess people, the end game in Scrabble is, I always say, 57. Wow. Uri is so good. I always say the end game in Scrabble is where Scrabble is the most like chess. Um, yeah, I don't know why I didn't see Avant. Avant-garde. Play Naga and vote. Actually, no, he changed it to veto, I think. Very important stuff. Anyways, that's the game. How long did that take? That was a really long analysis. Yeah, so the end game in Scrabble, you have perfect information. So it's a question of just finding the best sequence. Because you can determine what your opponent's best plays are 100% of the time. And so you can create branches and sequences to optimize. And sometimes it matters, often doesn't matter, doesn't change the result of the game. But as we said, there's tiebreakers in Scrabble. So every point could matter in a tournament. But yeah, sometimes the end games do matter. Sometimes it's between winning and losing. But most of the time they don't. But it's very important. I always say this, to even when your end games don't count, to try and calculate them, just for practice sake, practical sake. Anyways, that was the analysis. I'm sorry that the chat box is like sort of weird. Hopefully maybe that fixes it. Yeah, and that was the game I played just a few hours ago against